abducted, right? And they're being examined, and they're having needles poked into them, and they're being opened up and brainwashed, and their brain scanned and all this stuff. And then maybe if they had cancer and they come back and say, well, I went to the doctor a month later and my cancer was gone. Well, maybe they were just lucky. Maybe their cancer would have been gone anyway.
Maybe there's so much exotic radiation on these ships that it by proxy just cured it. Who knows? But, as far as different races or species or beings, and this is no
okay,
kidding.
James, guess what?
What?
We got to go for break. We'll be back in 3 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio.
Jake the Maggot was a biker and drove his motorcycle very fast. Drove a big chop Harley with a gang color jacket and ran down Citizens for laughs. He had an old lady named Petula who packed an automatic 45 gun. They had just come up from California where they'd shot 6 cops for fun. Jake, he thought it was the best there was, as down the interstate he saw, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff who they all call 104. It was late on a Thursday evening, and Jake, he was feeling kind of mean, cause he'd just run out of his favorite drug, the one called amphetamine. So we sauntered up to Petula, and he said, say, baby, let's split. There's a little gas station on down the road that might be fun to hit. So they drove up to the station, and they both jumped off of Jake's ride. They were up to derision at Jake's decision as they both sauntered to the inside. The attendant, he was an old man, and he didn't think it very funny. When Petula pulled out that great big gun, said, honey, give me all your money. Well, the old man opened up the cash drawer, and Jake grabbed the money and ran. With Petula out the door to the big chop Harley that was parked on the center kickstand. Then they headed out for the 4-lane, and they thought it was lots of fun. With Jake on his hog, with Petula the dog, with the automatic 45 gun. He thought it was the best there was, as down the interstate he saw, till the day he tangled with the county sheriff who they all call 104. Didn't think it very humorous, and he didn't like to get sassed, cause just that morning he'd had a cup of coffee with a cop named Pendergrast.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
Boy, I can't wait to summer when that lightning stops. I'll tell you, down at the compound, down at the harbor, underground. What can I say? The weather here at the compound, well, it's raining today. And raining almost every day. Cold and chilly. Can't wait to spring and summer. I don't know, but the weather is changing drastically. I don't know about where you're living at, but have your weather in your location, has it changed and been changing over the last year or two? Well, we have some people that say that it's not changing at all, but well, I don't know. If it's not changing, tell me why Antarctica is going to be bare pretty soon. Why is certain parts of the world starting to be, well, underwater? Something is going on. Anyway, James, we are back.
Yeah, we're back. My daggone thing was sticking, but yeah. And I was, before the break, I was talking about, and this is no kidding, somewhere between 25 and 28 years ago, I actually seen a secret document. I don't know how legit it was, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty legit. If I had to bet on it, I think it was legit. And it listed, at that time, that our military government knew of 168 different races of different aliens that have been here or they've had contact with or know of. And that's a scary thought in itself, because they all got their own agendas. And that's the other thing, that the other curveball here is there's not just one that's got one agenda going on. There's several, even if it's just 4, which I think it's way more than that. But that's another factor.
I don't know. I like Mary Joyce, has been on the show. I got to get her back on here the next month. I got to contact her. But, she insisted that some of these alien species, as you call it, species, are not friendly towards man. And that she had a person who was a high up in the government and had the highest top clearance you could have, top secret clearance, gave her information about, even in North Carolina, in their underground base, supposedly aliens are giving our military technology. In return, these aliens love humans. They love them a lot. You know what I'm saying. Pass the barbecue sauce, George.
Well, like I said earlier, maybe we're the frog that, they bring here to dissect, but also we do eat frog legs, so that's something to think about. But yeah, again, we don't know, and there is other meanings to the word serve man. There just is.
Well, you're thinking about the old Twilight Zone one, but you know what? It kind of fits in, because what are they maybe doing to these people? I mean, look at this. Okay, cattle mutilation. We talk about this all the time, but why do they have to keep doing it repeatedly? Why does it go on worldwide? I'm sure they know what a set of udders look like by now. And I'm certain they know what eyeballs look like. But why do they have to keep doing it? Well, they're doing it for some type of reason. Why are they draining these cattle of their blood? But then we get into the human mutilations. That is even more scary, because now, besides the eyes being removed, their sex glands being removed, their heart's being removed, and some other things being removed, that their heart is being, and their whole insides are being sucked out of holes maybe smaller than the size of the dime. I don't think we have that technology, do we?
That's a good question. I do know the Egyptians used to pull our brains out through the nose nostril, but
yeah, but okay, I read about that. They just didn't get some people. Oh, they just put a hook in your nose and pull out your brain. No, they pulled your brain out in little pieces.
Yeah, I think right. I think you're right about that. Yeah, and I know that no matter what, it just sounds very uncomfortable and very painful, and probably the last pain you may feel as the horror is going through your brain. And what a way to go, knowing that you may be eaten or part of an experiment somewhere or fed to one of their pets. Who knows?
Well, yeah, well, maybe. He just nailed. Maybe we're being processed for food.
Yeah, because listen, as far as we know, pretty much everything needs something to sustain ourselves. That's another thing. Maybe that's another theory. Maybe why they're here. It's not trying to experiment, find things out. Or maybe they have to have our blood or something from us or certain parts to sustain their existence while they're on this plane. I don't know. It's just a theory. Nothing. We just don't know. And
how are they getting here? Are they flying at a high speed to get to Earth? Are they going through a black hole? Are they going and forming a wormhole? Are they? We don't know. You know why we don't know? Because we're not intelligent enough yet to understand that. Just like I was saying last night on the show, technology in the last 100 years has gone bizarre. 100 years ago, we didn't even have airplanes. Well, we did. 102 years ago. Let's go there. We didn't have airplanes. We didn't have any type of technology. When they invented the radio, they invented tubes. Those tubes dominated the world for many years, all the way up from the early 1900s all the way up to the late 50s. But then in the late 50s, all of a sudden, the transistor gets developed. And then a few years later, integrated circuits got developed. Of course, they were huge then and only did a couple functions. Now they got integrated circuits that are the size of a pinhead. I mean, technology is moving so fast. From going from a glider or a blimp to, going on to the space shuttle, going to the, all the other stuff. I mean, how could we advance that far, that fast without some type of help? Like I said last night, my dad was electronic engineer for Boeing aircraft and helped develop some electronics for when they were working on the old SST. It never got developed, built, but he was developing electronics for it. And he came home because, I was into electronics as a little kid. My dad was an electronic engineer, and he sat down and he said, the technology we have now could have not generated it by itself without help. And here's my dad, an engineer in electronics, and he's sitting there saying that. He said, something has been going on. Now, at that point, he wasn't thinking about aliens and stuff like that, but he just said it was not normal for us to advance in a 100-year cycle. When you go back from the 1400s, 1300s, whatever 100 cycles you want to take, we've advanced kind of weird.
Well, yeah. Here's some of the facts of things. Pretty much at the turn of the century, from like 1800s into the 1900s, we were still pretty much on horse and buggy. And then if you fast forward, 69 years, we're on the moon. That's a pretty good leap now, but here's another enigma. You can go from there to another 50 years, and we haven't went more than 250 miles into space. What's up?
Yeah, well, there's a block there for some reason, isn't there?
Something's going on.
I can't understand. Now they're talking about maybe going back to the moon. We already have a couple countries saying they're going to go to the moon. But when you really think about it, oh, no, we're not going to go to the moon. We're going to go to Mars. Why in the hell would we even think about going to Mars? Because we made a short little time stay on the moon and then we took back off. Why don't we put people on the moon and let them live on it for several months or a year and see if they can adjust to it and find out what happens before we send people off and even think about going to the Mars? I mean, that unless you're sending, if they're going to send people to Mars, they might as well go to the prison system and find people that volunteer that maybe are on death row, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to go to Mars. You're not going to, even if you survive getting to Mars without getting zapped by an asteroid or a rock or whatever, how are you going to survive once you land there? We don't have the technology.
Here's the thing. I don't even think we have technology to get to Mars right now at all. No. And if we do, we don't want other countries to know about it, because if we do have it, it's a secret, really advanced technology that we probably got from somewhere else. But as we know it, of the technology, I don't think we have the technology to get there, and it's going to take at the shortest window 2 to 2.5 years one way to get there. And then however long you're there, and another 2.5 years back. So you're looking at 5 to 6 year round trip, and in a little craft with a bunch of people, the mental conditions, and the human body's not meant to be in space. Just 6 months to a year, your body changes, DNA changes, your body breaks down. You imagine 5 to 6 years in space? We're not meant to be in space.
That's what I'm saying. It's ludicrous. I mean, at this point with our technology, now, maybe it's just a way to keep our minds off of other things. Feed the people a little bit of what they want to hear, for they don't ask the real questions. But it seems like all this stuff is going on right now is a diversion for some sort. And I just think about it. I still don't understand why we needed a Space Force when we had the Air Force. That's like, you got the Marines, you got the Army, you got the Navy. Well, now part of the Navy is the Space Force. But I mean, why do you need that? I mean, think about it. To put missiles up in space to deter other countries? Well, we already got missiles up in space, people. So I don't know about that. Are they here to protect us against aliens? like Ronald Reagan kind of implied several times while he was president. Well, something is going on. And I think everything that's going on is a diversion.